Hello, everyone. I hope that you're all well and safe and happy and behaving yourselves and everything else. Anyway, so thanks very much for stopping by and coming to look at my video. And if you are new here, and even if you're not, thanks very much for coming to watch this video. Now, today, I'd like to tell you that this video is episode 17 of the great series, England's Most Successful Football Club. And it's brand new and it's exciting, and it's all the other episodes so far have caused massive debates all up and down the country and all over the world, in fact. So hopefully this one will as well. So anyway, as I say, if you're new to my channel, I'd like to give you a warm welcome. And please remember to press the subscribe button so that you can make sure that you don't miss out on any new episodes that I upload. And also from next week, I'm hoping to be able to upload videos as well on a Wednesday, because we're getting up the table now. And as you probably noticed last week, I've started making one team for one video. So basically every time there's a video, it's only going to focus on one team, because of the amount of success that the clubs that we're looking at are now starting to have. So I hope that's okay and that you enjoy the video that I've got for you today. And like I say, I hope you're all well and safe and happy. So without any further ado, let's get on with the show. Okay, so we're on the Warren's Team Talk bus, and we've made our way up to Birmingham, because today we're going to go and visit Birmingham City. Now, Birmingham City, they managed to accumulate 2,555 points, and they finished 24th in the Warren's Team Talk table. So the Birmingham City, the land of Jasper Carrot and Kevin Turvey, for those of you who are old enough to remember those two characters, are also known as the Blues, and their fans are known as the Blue Noses as well. They're not the only club to be known as the Blue Noses, but we won't go in more to that. They were formed in 1875 at Small Heath Alliance, and then the club was then renamed to Small Heath in 1888, and then to Birmingham in 1905, and then finally they had their last name change in 1943 when they were renamed to Birmingham City. Now, Birmingham City's home ground has been St Andrews since 1906. Now, I remember as well during the early 80s, there was a lot of stories flying around because Birmingham had a bit of a yo-yo existence between the First Division and the Second Division. That there was allegedly a gypsy curse on the ground, and something to do with a horse or something like that, and that's why apparently that some of the club supporters claimed that the club's fortunes weren't as good as what they possibly could be. But anyway, I'm not really going to go into that. I'm here to talk about the successes on the football pitch, not about gypsy curses or relegations and things like that. So let's move on. Anyway, so in 1892, Birmingham City, or Small Heath as they were known then, were invited to become founder members of the newly formed English Football League Second Division and Tier 2. And in their very first season in the Football League, second division tier 2 in the 1892-93 season. The club won the second division title, as you can see by looking at this slide here. It looks like they won it fairly comfortably, really. Well, no, actually, by just 1 point from Sheffield United. But unfortunately, that season they didn't get promoted. Now, the reason for this was because at that time, the top 3 teams from the second division would play off against the bottom 3 sides in the first division in a series of playoff games to see who would play in the first division the next season. And these matches were called test matches. And what happened was that particular season, Small Heath were drawn to play Newton Heath, who later became known as Manchester United, and the game ended in a 1-1 draw. And then the game was then replayed at a ground called Olive Grove, which I understand was Sheffield Wednesday's first stadium. And unfortunately for Birmingham, they lost this game by 5-2. Now, these playoff games were normally one-off games at a neutral ground, and they would involve, like I say, the bottom 3 clubs in the first division and the top 3 clubs in the second division. So they were quite similar to the playoffs we've got at the moment. But what would happen is if the team from the first division won the game, they would stay in the first division the next season. And then if the team from the second division won the game, they would go forward to see if they could be elected into the first division at the expense of the team that they'd beaten in the test match. So that's how it worked. So let's move on. So just give me 2 seconds. Sorry about this, just 2 seconds and then we can move on. And then, so let's move on now. So the next season, in an 1893-94 season, Birmingham, known as Small Heath, as you can see from the slide, they won promotion to the first division, tier 1, after winning a test match against Darwin by 3-1 after they secured a second place finish. And as you will also notice that season, Liverpool went through the whole league season unbeaten. So not many, I didn't realise this. Most people I know seem to think there's only 2 sides that have gone through a league season undefeated, i.e. Preston North End and a few years ago Arsenal. But it appears that's not the case. Liverpool had an unbeaten season as well. So they can also claim an invincible tag too. So yeah, fair play to Liverpool then. So yeah, Small Heath or Birmingham won the match against Darwin by 3-1 and won promotion that season. So 3 years later, in the 1896-97 season, Birmingham finished 4th in the second division and tier 2, but they did not win promotion. And then a few years later, in 1899, 1900, Birmingham secured a third place finish and again missed out on promotion. And then the next season, in 1900 and 1901, Birmingham secured a second place finish in the second division Tier 2 and won promotion to the first division Tier 1. But they missed out on their title by 1 point to Grimsby Town. And then 2 years later, in the 1902-1903 season, Birmingham enjoyed a 100% home league record, i.e. that they won every game they played at home, and finished the season in second place and won promotion. Then 10 years later, in the 1912-13 season, Birmingham, who by this stage had changed their name from Small Heath, finished the season in third place in the second division Tier 2, but failed to win promotion. And then in the first season after World War I, in the 1919-20 season, Birmingham secured another third place finish in the second division Tier 2. And then the very next season, in the 1920-21 season, Birmingham won the second division Tier 2 title on goal average from Cardiff City by 0.235 of a goal, when both clubs finished on 58 points, and they won promotion as a consequence to the first division Tier 1. But also, if you notice as well, it was quite tight at the top that year, where Bristol City marginally edged out Blackpool by 1 point to finish third. Then, 10 years after their second division Tier 2 title success in the 1930-31 season, Birmingham reached their first ever FA Cup final when they lost 2-1 to their West Midlands rivals, West Bromwich Albion, in a game played at Wembley Stadium in front of a crowd of 92,406. And then if we move on, Sorry about that. That was my phone ringing. I'm sorry about that. I'll call that person back when I've finished here. Then, after this cup final success, Birmingham then stayed in England's top flight until the 1938-39 season, when they were relegated. And then in the 1946-47 season, the first season after World War II, Birmingham City finished third, but unfortunately they did not win promotion. And then the very next year, in the 1947-48 season, the club won the second division Tier 2 title and won promotion. And they, as you can see, they won the title by a margin of 3 points over Newcastle United. And then in the 1950-51 season, Birmingham secured a fourth place finish in the second division Tier 2, but unfortunately for them, they did not win promotion that year. And this was followed up the next year in the 1951-52 season by the club finishing third and again missing out on promotion to Cardiff City on goal average by 0.137 of a goal. And then after narrowly missing out on promotion in the 51-52 season, the club successfully went on 3 years later in the 1954-55 season to edge out Luton Town on goal average by 0.297 of a goal to win the second division Tier 2 title. Now, as you can see that year as well, there were 3 clubs at the top of the table who all finished on 54 points, and they had to be separated on goal average, with Birmingham coming out on top to win the title and Luton coming second to be promoted. And even the side that finished 4th in Leeds United were only 1 point behind those 3 clubs. So as you can see, it was extremely tight at the top of the table that season. And then the next year, in the 1955-56 season, Birmingham reached their second and to date last FA Cup final when they lost 3-1 to Manchester City in front of a crowd of 100,000 capacity crowd at Wembley Stadium. And then also that season, the 1955-56 season, Birmingham City achieved their highest ever league finish of 6th place in the First Division Tier 1, when they finished 4 points behind second place Blackpool. But as with all the rest of the clubs, they finished like quite some distance behind champions Manchester United that year, who won the title with 60 points. And as a consequence of this 6th place finish, Birmingham qualified for the inaugural Intercity Fairs Cup. And in their campaign that season, they won the group, which contained Inter Milan and a Zagreb representative 11, and also in the semi-final they lost out to a Barcelona representative 11. Birmingham beat the Barcelona team 4-3 in the first leg before losing the second leg 1-0, and therefore the tie ended up going to a replay, which Barcelona won by 2-1. And then at the end of the 1959-60 season, Birmingham City managed to go one better than their previous campaign in the Intercity Fairs Cup by reaching the final. And in doing so, they were the first English club side to reach a major European final, when unfortunately for them, they lost 4-1 on aggregate, again to Barcelona. Birmingham then again repeated this feat the following season, in the 1960-61 season, when they lost 4-2 in aggregate in the Intercity Fairs Cup final to Roma. And then 2 years later, in the 1962-63 season, Birmingham reached their first ever Football League Cup final when they defeated bitter local rivals Aston Villa 3-1 on aggregate. The first game, Birmingham won 3-1, and then the return game at Villa Park in Birmingham was a 0-0 draw. So they managed to win the trophy, which I'm sure they must have been absolutely divided by, not only because they won a trophy, but because they beat their bitterest rivals in the final. And then in the 1967-68 season, the club secured a 4th place finish in the second division, Tier 2, but failed to win promotion. And then 4 years after this 4th place finish, in the 1971-72 season, the club won promotion when they finished second in the second division Tier 2 with an unbeaten home league season. And they missed out on the league title by 1 point to Norwich City that season. And it has to be said that during this season, the club had 12 away draws, and had they won just 2 of those games, they would have ended up winning the title. So really they've only got themselves to blame, I guess, but it must have been quite a bit of pill to swallow for them. Anyway, then 8 years later, in the 1979-80 season, Birmingham secured a third-place finish in the second division, Tier 2, by edging out Chelsea on goal difference and won promotion to return to the first division, Tier 1. And also that season, they missed out on the second division title to Leicester City by a mere 2 points. 5 years later, after suffering relegation in the 1983-84 season, the Blues won promotion straight back to the first division in the 1984-85 season, when they finished the season second in the second division, Tier 2, and missed out on the league title by 2 points to Oxford United this time. So sadly for Birmingham, though, they were relegated back to the second division, Tier 2, in their first season back in the first division, Tier 1. And fortunately, the club were relegated again in the 1988-89 season to the third division, Tier 3. Then in the 1990-91 season, Birmingham reached their first ever EFL trophy final, and they successfully defeated Tranmere Rovers 3-2 at Wembley Stadium in front of a crowd of over 58,000 to win the trophy. And then in the 1991-92 season, the club finished second in the third division, Tier 3, and won promotion back up to the second division, Tier 2. And they also missed out on the league title that season by 1 point to that season's champions, Brentford. And then after suffering relegation back to the third division, Tier 3, in the 1993-94 season, the club won the third division Tier 3 title in the 1994-95 season. So as you can see as well, that they amassed a massive 89 points that season, and they won the title by some considerable distance as well, by the looks of it. So they done very well that season by the looks of things, and won the league fairly comfortably. So that must have been a great pleasure to them. Anyway, so also in the 1994-95 season, the Blues won their second EFL trophy 3 years later when they defeated, and that was 1995, when they defeated Carlisle United 1-0 at Wembley Stadium in front of a crowd of over 76,000, when Paul Tate scored the golden goal in the 103rd minute. Now, the golden goal was a system that was used in a lot of football, high-level football matches at the time. So if a game had to go into extra time, because there was a lot of upset caused by penalty shootouts, what would happen if a team did score in extra time, that the game would immediately finish after the goal had been scored, and the team who'd scored it would then be awarded the match. So 4 years after returning to the first division, Tier 2, in the 1998-99 season, they secured a fourth place finish, but sadly for the Blues, they missed out on promotion after they lost 7-6 on penalties to Watford in the playoff semi-final after the tie had ended in a 1-1 draw on aggregate. And then in the 2000-2001 season, Birmingham City lost 5-4 on penalties to Liverpool in the Football League Cup final after the game ended in a 1-1 draw after extra time at Cardiff's Millennium Stadium in front of a crowd of over 73,000. And then in the 2001-2002 season, after suffering defeat in the 2 previous seasons, First Division Tier 2 playoffs, the club secured a 5th place finish in the First Division Tier 2 and won promotion to the FA Premier League after they defeated Norwich City 4-2 on penalties after the game ended in a 1-1 draw in the playoff final. And then in the 2006-2007 season, they finished 2nd in the Championship Tier 2 and won promotion to the FA Premier League and missed out on the title by 2 points to Sunderland. But unfortunately for the Blues, they were relegated back to the Championship Tier 2 the very next season. Then in the first season back in the Championship, in 2008-2009, they secured a 2nd place finish in the Championship to win promotion back to the FA Premier League. And then in the 2010-11 season, Birmingham reached another League Cup final, and this time they defeated Arsenal by 2-1, with goals from a chap by the name of Zigic and Martins. Arsenal's goal was scored by Robin van Persie, and Arsenal were hot favourites to win this game, but as is the case with the Arsenal team at that time, they managed to conspire to throw the game away with a defensive calamity involving Lorian Koscielny and the goalkeeper, what was his name? Chesney, I think it was. So yeah, I mean that sort of thing used to happen quite a lot of the time to Arsenal in those days. And it still happens to this day, especially with David Luiz, but that's another story. Anyway, so they lost 2-1. They beat Arsenal 2-1 in the League Cup final at Wembley Stadium in front of a crowd of over 88,000. And then after suffering relegation back to the Championship in the same season, the Blues went on to secure a 4th place finish in the Championship the very next season. But unfortunately, they failed to win promotion back to the Premier League when they lost 3-2 to Blackpool on aggregate in the playoff semi-final. Also in the also in that season, the 2011-2012 season, because of their Football League Cup win the previous year against Arsenal, they qualified for the 2011-2012 Europa League. And during that campaign, they did the following. They played a team from Portugal by the name of Cidade Nacional and won 3-0 on aggregate. And then in the group stages, they played SC Braga of Portugal and lost 1-0 away and 3-1 at home. And also they played NK Maribor of Slovenia, winning the home game 1-0 and the away game 2-1. And then they also played Club Brugge of Belgium and drew the home game 2-2 and lost and won the away game 2-1. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough to get them out of the group stage, and they were knocked out in the group stage of the competition that season. So, but it must have been nice for them to play again in European football after not doing so for so many years. So actually they finished third in the group stage that year. So if we move on now, the next slide shows a number of managers that have been in charge of Birmingham down the years. And if we have a quick look at this, you can see that they've had some big name managers in the past. They've had Sir Alf Ramsey, who was in charge between September 77 and March 78. And he managed to get a 39.3 win percentage. Ron Saunders, who was there for about 4 years, between 82 and 86, and he got a 35.6 win percentage. Dave Mackay, Lou Macari, Terry Cooper, Barry Fry, Trevor Francis, Mick Mills, and Jim Barron, who managed the club together. Steve Bruce, Alec McLeish, Chris Houghton, Gary Rowlett, Gianfranco Zola, and the legendary Harry Redknapp. Now, out of all these managers, it seems that the one who had the best, unless I'm mistaken, the best win percentage was Harry Storer, who took charge towards the end of the Second World War, and he had a win percentage of 51.8%, and he won the Football League South Wartime League Championship and the Second Division Championship. But other than that, the best one, just by looking at this, was Lou Macari, who won the Football League trophy, and he had a 50% win percentage. But there's some good managers on that list. So, yeah, that's it. So I hope you've enjoyed this show. And yeah, okay, everyone. So that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed the show this week and that you found it really informative and interesting. I certainly enjoyed watching the video, I have to say. So, and thanks very much for coming by, like I say, to watch the show. And also, please remember to put a like on the video. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel, because it does really help. Because without those things happening, then YouTube won't consider my video of being worthwhile to push out to other people, particularly to people who haven't come across it before. So please make sure you keep doing that, because it does really help. Anyway, so thanks again. And if you are new to my channel, like I say, thanks very much for coming by, and I'd like to offer you a big warm welcome to the channel, and I hope that you enjoy all the videos that I put out. And yeah, so until I see you all next week, please look after yourselves and stay healthy. And remember, I'm going to try and put a video out on Wednesday, which I think might be about Sheffield United, but I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, because I want to try and see if I can put them out twice a week from now on. Anyway, so please take care, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. And thanks a lot. And remember, please keep talking and be happy. Take care. Bye.